Chapter 6. Abuelita poured more café into my half-empty cup. The sweet scent of the canela that she boiled along with the coffee filled up the kitchen. We sat in friendly silence for many moments, watching the sunrise over the Sierra de Los Angeles. We began most mornings that way ever since Papa and Mama left years before. We never talked much, we didn't need to, but the day after I saw Don Clemente, Abuelita had something on her mind. So did I. Por fin tu súplica se te ha concedido, Abuelita finally said. I know how much this means to you. She reached across the table and entwined my fingers with hers. Dark brown age spots and deep blue veins covered the backs of her hands. A strand of gray hair fell out of the bun at the back of her head. She tucked it behind her ear with her free hand, while her other tightened its grip on mine. Abuelita, I began, I have a question for you. Please tell me the truth. I was sorry as soon as I said it. Abuelita didn't lie. She just gave me a small smile and nodded. Is it true what Don Clemente told me about Papa? I swallowed hard. Sí, mijo. ¿Por qué, abuelita? Why? Miguel, your papa must have had his reasons, she answered. You're going now. That's what counts. I disengaged my hand from hers, stood up, and turned to the window. I know, I want to go, but I don't know if I can forgive him. You're too hard on people, Miguel. You're hard on Elena, Abuelita answered. Don't judge your father. I remained unmoving. I gripped the edge of the windowsill tightly until my knuckles turned white. I could not talk back to Abuelita. No juzgues, mijo, she repeated firmly. It was as close as she ever came to scolding me, and it was the end of the conversation. We'll need to slaughter a goat, she said. I want to have a going-away party for you. No, Abuelita, I protested. Abuelita might need the goat meat later on. Things were tight, really tight. It seemed a waste to use it up. And I didn't want a party. I didn't want any long goodbyes. I already had my eyes on La Línea. I could already feel my feet moving me away. But Abuelita was determined. So we set the fiesta for 3 days from then, the night before I was scheduled to leave. I spent the rest of the day poring over my travel packet. I memorized the routes and the names that Don Clemente had written, each in his flowing, elaborate script. The sheaf of papers, the envelope with the money, all of it seemed too thin, too small to get me to where I needed to go, so far north. But I followed Don Clemente's instructions to the letter. I went to the next town, to the supermercado, to buy the items I needed, a plastic water bottle, comfortable shoes, and a new backpack with compartments to store everything. I even got a pouch for the money to wear next to my skin under my shirt. I sneaked everything into the house when Elena was away and hid them in my secret place behind the wall. And then for the next 3 days, I did work for Abuelita that I should have done months before. I hauled, chopped, and stacked a big pile of wood. I repaired several parts of the fence around the corral. I hit my thumb with a hammer twice, and some of the boards hung a little crooked, but at least it was done. Then I climbed up on the roof to see if I could find the leaks. Even with the little rain we got last winter, Abuelita had to place pots under 3 places where steady drips of water fell into her kitchen. I patched the leaks poorly. Lo siento, Abuelita. I apologized to her silently as I worked. The truth was I was no good as a carpenter. The patches on the roof probably wouldn't last. Finally, I stood and stared at the tomatoes I'd planted 2 months before. I was an even worse farmer. Bugs had eaten most of them inside out, leaving gaping holes in the flesh. The tomatoes that had escaped the bug attack were small and shriveled. My chiles next to the tomatoes had puckered up and fallen off before they ripened. I picked one of Elena's tomatoes growing right next to mine. It was round, red, and warm from the sun. I took a big bite. The juice ran down my chin, sweet as sugar. Elena's chiles had grown fat and shiny and long. I bet you can't grow ones as good as mine, Elena had taunted in the spring. I took her bet to shut her up. I checked my plants every day. I tried to do what Elena did with hers. I even gave them extra water, but it was useless. I couldn't compete. And that wasn't all. When Abuelita put me in charge of the animals last year, the cows quit giving milk and a goat dropped dead for no reason. Under Elena's care, the cow gave more milk than ever. Good thing. We needed the money we'd get from selling it to Senor Gonzalez. Abuelita said I didn't pay enough attention. She said my mind was always somewhere else. Anybody could grow a plant or raise an animal. But Abuelita didn't scold. She didn't even seem to blame me. To Abuelita, both my strengths and weaknesses were facts, as true as the rising sun or the drought that the sun caused. Fíjate, she said last week. I hadn't latched the gate and 3 chickens disappeared. Elena is younger and already she can take care of the rancho better than you. There wasn't a bit of rancor in her voice. Abuelita was right, and I didn't care. Each failure I had on the rancho was just more proof to myself that my future lay across La Línea in California. If I'd ever belonged in San Jacinto, I didn't belong now.